Today, witnesses from the National Guard, Department of Defense, and Customs and Border Protection took the stand to discuss how their partnership at the border is working. This call was prompted by the tough immigration law in Alabama. It's called HB 56, and it's based on SB 1070. Scottsdale students are also learning a different way to express themselves, speaking Chinese. Local First Arizona has conducted several studies, one of which shows a community about the size of Tucson. Well, Mesa Junior High students are out of school tomorrow for Veterans Day. But 2 months from now, Mesa Junior High won't have any students at all. A surprising trend has popped up along the U.S.-Mexico border, but it's not what you think. Well, there's been lots of talk lately about a double-dip recession and struggling housing markets, but what about commercial realty? Reporter Rachel Nagley found some of the Valley's commercial markets are on the rise. Billboards are brighter than ever in Phoenix, and polls say residents aren't happy about it. Last year, ICE prosecuted 10,000 people for illegal re-entry. That's the highest ever. It was the hottest ticket in town, people lining up early this morning trying to get one of the coveted seats inside the Supreme Court, where lawyers were going to continue the battle over SB 1070. It has been 2 years since Governor Brewer signed Senate Bill 1070 into law, a law that requires police to check the immigration status of people they think are in the country illegally.
We have done the very best job that we can do for the people of Arizona.
She sat inside the courtroom today as lawyers for the federal government and Arizona battled it out, fighting over a federal lawsuit that stopped police from enforcing the new law. The feds believe there are already appropriate immigration laws in place. Now the future of SB 1070 lies in the hands of the Supreme Court justices.
Hoping that the court actually hears the facts and the reality that Arizona is following the very law given to it by Congress.
While the oral arguments went long, a half hour beyond the allotted time, many who listened to the questions raised by the justices say it appears the High Court might rule to let the law go into effect. But one Arizona lawmaker who is against SB 1070 says he won't give up on fighting against this law and others like it.
Whatever that decision is, we have a responsibility to change the fundamental political culture of the state of Arizona.
But the lawyer representing Arizona says he hopes the justices are able to support the state of Arizona and the passage of SB 1070.
The case is really about enforcement and not the creation of law here, and I think that's important.
After leaving the courtroom, Governor Brewer was confident that the final decision will be in the state of Arizona's favor. The news for these kids and their parents is not good. For the second year in a row, total spending by states for pre-K programs has dropped again. And one place that's been the hardest hit, Arizona, which has frozen funding for pre-K students.
In 11 other states, no publicly funded pre-K is offered. Arizona last year eliminated its program.
Before the program was frozen in 2010, Early Childhood Block Grant Program provided enough funding to send about 5,000 Arizona kids to class. But the state had come under fire for only spending about $117 per child, putting Arizona dead last when it came to the state funding for early childhood education.
And I recognize these are tough economic times, but I always say budgets aren't just numbers. Budgets reflect our values. And if we can invest in high-quality early learning programs, that solves so many of our social ills.
And this year, with little in-state funding for early childhood education, there is still no word on whether the state has plans to bring back the program, something Secretary Duncan finds critical to the nation's future.
Building and expanding successful early learning programs is key to strengthening and fostering a cradle-to-career education system.
Francis Studio is like many locally owned businesses along the light rail. Cassandra Hunston says customers are more curious rather than confident.
We have so many people that are light rail users that just sort of stumble upon these shops.
Now Local First Arizona is hoping to bring strength and stability to the community. It has linked up with Metro Light Rail to launch a new app that keeps consumers' money local. Launch it and you'll discover Arizona's owned retail, restaurants, and entertainment within half a mile of each light rail stop. Local First Arizona has conducted several studies, one of which shows a community about the size of Tucson, if just changing their spending to more locally than a national level, generates millions of dollars within the community, as well as over hundreds of jobs. Executive Director of Local First Arizona is also the owner of Stinkweeds. She's confident that the app can bring about a whole new look to their community.
This gives you the opportunity to see what your options are. So you don't just have to go to the big place right across the street that everybody knows. This might take you over a block, but nonetheless, you might have the best experience you've ever had downtown.
It really gives the light rail riders a tool to explore either their neighborhoods or outside of their neighborhoods.
Now Hudson is hopeful more customers will be seeking out their shop rather than just stumbling in.